I was just cleaning and straightening up back of the before, and I was apologizing to him and saying, I'm sorry that I'm so mean because sometimes...
The infamous case of Gabby Petito that rocked the entire world back in 2021. A bright and adventurous 22-year-old Gabby set out on a cross-country trip with her fiancé, Brian Laundrie. It was supposed to be a dream adventure, a couple in love exploring the breathtaking landscapes of America while documenting their journey online. But behind the social media facade lies a much darker truth, one that was tragically ignored. Hello everyone, my name is Vander and welcome to Vander Explains. At the time of making this video, Netflix is set to release a 3-part special of the Gabby Petito story. So, I figured it would be a great time to recap key moments of this case. But more importantly, we are going to explore how and why this tragedy happened in the first place. How did we miss all the red flags that pointed out Brian Laundrie's behavior and mental state? And could we have done something different in hindsight to save Gabby? So without further ado, let's get started. Gabby and Brian were your textbook high school sweethearts, or so we thought. The pair got engaged precisely a year before they decided to embark on the 4-month cross-country road trip on July 2nd, 2021. They had purchased a van and retrofitted it to ensure that they can cook, eat, sleep, and document their journey together. Initially, they were meant to get married in 2021, but due to the pandemic, they decided to take the trip instead. Gabby and Brian wanted to take their time to explore national parks and campsites across the US, and doing so while documenting them on Instagram and YouTube. You could still visit their YouTube channel, Nomadic Static, which eerily still has one video up that was meant to mark the start of their van life journey. You can click the link in the video description if you want to take a look for yourself. The trip started off really well. The couple drove through states and cities, stopping at various locations to admire the natural landscapes. At every notable stop, they would post pictures on Instagram and took videos which was later cut and edited for their YouTube channel. Online fans of Gabby and Brian would have never thought that anything was amiss. They truly looked happy, and both can be seen with adoration in their eyes. But things quickly took a drastic turn when officers responded to reports of disorderly conduct in Moab City, Utah. Police received a 911 call from an unnamed witness claiming to see the pair in some sort of physical altercation. Officers then quickly arrived on the scene, stopped the pair in their vehicle, and decided to question them separately. What is now considered to be the infamous body cam video showing Gabby in distress apologizing to officers for her OCD and overreaction. Meanwhile, Brian, cool as you can, spoke with nothing but smiles and laughs, seemingly to build a rapport with the officers.
You want to tell me what's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just some days I have really bad OCD, and
Okay.
I was just cleaning and straightening up back of the before, and I was apologizing to him and saying, I'm sorry that I'm so mean because sometimes I have OCD and sometimes I just get really frustrated. Not like mean towards him. I just I guess my vibe is like I am like in a bad mood. And I was just saying, I'm sorry if I'm in a bad mood. I've just been really stressed. I had so much work I was doing on my computer this morning. And he wouldn't let me in the car before. And then
Why wouldn't he let you in the car? Because of your OCD?
He told me I needed to calm down. Yeah. But I'm perfectly calm. I'm calm all the time. And he really stresses me out. And this is a rough morning.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't I sit you down in the back seat of my car? You're not in any trouble, okay? I'm not going to be putting handcuffs on you. You obviously don't have any weapons. I'm going to get you into the air conditioning, let you take a breath, relax a little bit, and then I'll come back and talk to you in a few minutes, okay?
Okay.
Alrighty. Tell me what's going on.
She just gets worked up sometimes, and I try and really distance myself from her, so I locked the car and I walked away from her. What happened this morning is that she's trying to start up like her own little website blog and everything, so I give her time. We really had a nice morning and everything, but she just, got worked up because we were trying to get going and get our day going because we want to go like arches before the summer time.
Okay. You want to tell me about those scratches on your face?
She had a cell phone in her hand. That's why I was pushing her away. Because she wanted me. I locked the keys so I could walk away. I said, let's just take a breather and let's not, go anywhere. Let's just calm down for a minute. She was getting worked up, and then she had her phone and was trying to get the keys. And she got in the way. I was just trying to. I know I shouldn't push, but I was just trying to push her away to go. Let's just take a minute, step back, and breathe. And she got me with her phone.
Can I see your hand? Oh, you got a mark right here.
Oh, that's from a wire.
That's from a wire?
Yeah.
You want to tell me about hitting that curb?
Hitting the curb was her grabbing the wheel.
She grabbed the wheel?
Yeah. She said, I can't believe we're getting pulled over, and then she grabbed the wheel.
There were definitely several telltale signs that in hindsight could have led officers to conclude a different outcome, and I will revisit those signs later in this video. Now, I'm not saying that the officers did their job horribly, because in that moment, I could imagine it being very hard to deduce exactly what was going on. The full, unedited police body cam footage can be seen via the link in this video's description. In the end, police nearly arrested Gabby with domestic violence charges, but since both parties said that they were in love, the charges were dropped. Both of them agreed to separate for the night. Brian was put in a hotel, and Gabby was left with the van. They both ended up reconciling over the dispute and decided to continue their trip. This was when the couple decided to publish an 8-minute video on YouTube. The video showed them having the time of their lives, nothing alluding to the fight they just had days prior. This goes without saying, as perfect as couple may seem to you and me, behind the scenes could be a completely different story. At around August 23rd or 24th, Gabby's stepfather and mother Jim and Nicole Schmidt spoke to Gabby on a FaceTime call. Gabby had told them that she and Brian were planning to head to the Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. On this day, Gabby posted her final Instagram post showing her holding a small crocheted pumpkin with the caption Happy Halloween. The picture was taken at a place called The Monarch in Ogden, Utah, which was about a 45-minute drive from Salt Lake City. On August 22nd to 29th, there was silence. No more uploads from either Gabby or Brian. No social media updates. This period of time was when coroner Dr. Brent Blue believed that Gabby Petito was murdered. On this day, Gabby's family, Nicole and Jim, received a final text from Gabby saying that she's losing cell service in Yosemite and that they were heading to Yellowstone National Park. Nicole did find it odd that the way the text was sent doesn't sound like Gabby at all, but at the time, she just brushed it off. However, after having no further contact and news from her daughter for nearly 2 weeks, Nicole Schmidt decided to report her missing. Suffolk police launched a full-blown investigation. During this time, Brian had declined to speak to officers and the media, and he instead hired a lawyer to speak on his behalf. At this stage, Brian was made a person of interest in the Gabby Petito disappearance. Brian himself was nowhere to be seen and offered no help. However, Brian's lawyer released a statement on behalf of not only himself, but the entire Laundrie family, expressing hope for Gabby's search while offering no comments themselves. On this day, Jim Schmidt held a press conference begging for Gabby's safe return. He also pleaded for Brian and the Laundrie family to speak to them and investigators about Gabby. On just the following day, the Laundrie family attorney contacted authorities to also report him missing. Now the search was on for both Gabby and Brian. Police officers from various agencies, as well as the FBI, held massive field searches in various national parks and campsites. And on September 19th, a body was found near the Bridger-Teton National Forest, later confirmed to be that of Gabby Petito. During this time, as the search for Laundrie was still on, the case went viral. Gabby's death was officially declared a homicide, and at this point, investigators knew that they were under a time crunch. They released the manner of death being that of a blunt force trauma and strangulation. At this period, police body cam footage of the pair's altercation back in August 12th was also released to the public. Vigils were being held honoring Gabby Petito, as friends, families, and even strangers paid their respects. Meanwhile, investigators were deploying personnel across the national parks, including canine units and divers. Finally, on October 20th, a breakthrough occurred when officers found human remains at Florida's Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park. It was quickly confirmed through dental records, as well as a notebook found near the remains, that this was in fact Brian Laundrie. The notebook contained information that was practically an admission of guilt of what Brian did to Gabby, and he also briefly explained why he decided to off himself. It was certainly not the news that the world wanted to see. Petito's family went as far as issuing a $50 million lawsuit against the Moab police for negligence and failing to save Gabby's life. Although this motion has since been denied by a judge in November of 2024, the Petito family still insists that police officers at that time failed to recognize the signs of abuse. To this day, the Petito family is still seeking justice for the wrongful death of their daughter, something that I believe will be covered in greater detail on the Netflix special. Now that we're caught up, it is finally time to review the evidence in hindsight and see the red flags of this devolving relationship. Most of the signs that we are about to discuss will be based on the body cam footage of the August 12th altercation. Again, if you want to check out the full footage yourself, please head to this video's description. Now, I believe the first red flag started from this misinterpreted 911 call that led to Moab PD stopping Gabby and Brian's van in Utah.
Grant County Sheriff's Office.
Were you able to get a description of the intoxication?
Hi, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi, I'm calling. I'm right on the corner of Main Street by Moonflower, and we're driving by, and I'd like to report a domestic dispute. Florida with a white van, Florida license plate, white land, gentleman,
Where's it at?
5'6" beard. They just drove off. They're going down Main Street. They made a right onto Main Street from Moonflower.
Or what were they doing?
Cooperative, but what'd you say?
What were they doing?
We drove by, and the gentleman was slapping the girl.
He was slapping her?
Yes, and then we stopped. They ran up and down the sidewalk. He proceeded to hit her, hopped in the car, and they drove off.
Okay, you said it's a white van?
White van. I can give you the license plate if you give me 1 sec. I took a picture of it.
What kind of white van? Like a big one?
It was a smaller van with the license plate of, it was white, Florida license plate QFT G03. It was, the make was a Ford, model was Transit, black ladder on the passenger side.
Black ladder, passenger side.
White Ford Transit.
White Ford Transit. Okay, what's your name? And where did they, so they turned, they headed south on Main Street from Moonflower Market?
Correct. They made the right turn.
Oh, so they went north.
North. Yeah, sorry, I'm not from around here.
Okay, so you're right there by the post office?
Right across the street, yep.
Okay, and when they turned onto Main Street, they went right or left?
Right.
Right, so they went north. North on Main. All right, I will let somebody know. Thank you.
As you heard for yourself, the operator not only dismissed the witness and their testimony, but he also sounded completely indifferent to the situation. This led me to believe that they potentially missed crucial details when relaying information to the responding officers on the scene. The witness clearly said that they saw a gentleman slapping the girl, but in the body cam footage, one of the officers claimed that witness never saw Brian strike Gabby. I do understand that some of this might be lost in translation, but in my opinion, the officers should have erred on the side of caution and be on alert throughout the stop. Next was the mental state of the pair when they were stopped. You could clearly see Gabby in tears, struggling to recompose herself. All the while, Brian looked calm and even jovial about the whole situation. It's also important to note that Brian was reportedly driving 30 miles above the speed limit before hitting the curb. This to me is very strange. How could the emotional state of the pair be so drastically different in that situation? And I wonder why the officers responding to the scene didn't pick up on this. Another concerning sign was the choice of words Brian used to describe Gabby's mental state. This is classic gaslighting behavior, calling Gabby unstable, worked up, and having anxiety issues. Brian can be seen shifting the focus away from himself while painting a picture that he was the rational partner among the two. He does this by downplaying the situation and minimizing his own actions. He said that the fight was nothing serious and just a mere squabble. He also apologized to officers, saying sorry that it had to get so public. He also crucially said, quote, "I hope she doesn't have too many complaints about me," unquote, subtly hinting that he was keeping tabs on what Gabby mentioned to the officers. Next was the lack of genuine concern for Gabby throughout the whole ordeal. I understand that people respond to situations differently, but during the stop, not once did Brian ask the officers to check on how Gabby was doing, and instead focus on building a rapport with the officers and befriending them. On the contrary, at moments during the clip, Gabby still asked officers about Brian and even reminded them to tell Brian to bring a charger. Gabby also repeatedly apologized for being mean, and she blamed herself numerous times during the video. Another classic sign from being in a controlling and manipulative relationship. What was even more alarming were the scratch marks on both Gabby and Brian. Just moments before they were stopped, Gabby managed to take a selfie at approximately 4:57 p.m., showing her bruised face. She also pointed this out to the officers, but they seemingly ignored this due to the fact that Brian's scratches looked visibly worse. Those scratches that Brian had could be that of defensive wounds when Gabby fought back. Again, this wasn't taken into consideration at the time. Now here's where things get concerning. Gabby explicitly said that Brian had grabbed her in the face, even demonstrating what he did to her. Shockingly, officers had a lackluster response and brushed it off. This crucial detail was also something that Brian omitted completely during his version of events. Grabbing someone by the face nearly in a choking motion is a clear signal of an abuser. And finally, the nail in the coffin was when police ultimately bought into Brian's narrative and had painted a picture that Gabby was the unstable and emotional one. They decided to place Brian in a motel, while Gabby, being shaken and emotionally unstable, was left alone with the van. Unfortunately, with nowhere else to go and nothing to anchor her emotions, Gabby went back to Brian to try and reconcile, and this mistake ultimately led to her demise. In hindsight, there were so many indicators of a toxic relationship happening behind the scenes. We could only ask ourselves, what if these signs were spotted in time? Gabby might just be alive today. That being said, manipulative, toxic, and controlling relationships occur more often than we would like to admit. So if you know someone who might be showing signs of them, please reach out to help them, or help them get help in one way or another, so we can prevent another tragedy like this from occurring. May Gabby Petito rest in peace, and may the family find solace and comfort in sharing her story with the world. Be sure to check out the Netflix special in this case, which should be out by the time this video drops. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps with the growth of our amazing community. Be sure to check out other videos on the channel by clicking here. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this case and recommend me other topics that you'd like me to review and explain. For now, this is Vander, stay safe, and I'll see you on the next one.